Hello children, today we are going to read chapter 15 pages 138 to 140 of the English reader Little Lord Fauntleroy. But before we do that, I would like to give you a recap of the previous lesson. In the previous lesson we read that Ben Tipton took his son Tom with him. Minna took a train to London and no one saw her again. The Earl finally made friends with Mrs. Errol and invited her to come and live with him and Cedric in the Dorincourt Castle. Let's turn to page 138, his 8th birthday. Ben took his boy and went back to his cattle ranch in California. He left with a big surprise. The Earl of Dorincourt said he wished to do something for the boy who might have been Lord Fauntleroy, so he decided to invest in a cattle ranch of his own as long as Ben Tipton would run it. And so Ben became the master of a ranch. And his son Tom grew up into a fine young man who loved his father. Now the Earl of Dorincourt wanted to do something for the boy who might have been Lord Fauntleroy. You see, if the truth about Minna had not come out, then this boy would have been Lord Fauntleroy. So the Earl wanted to do something for him to help him. So what did he do? That he invested some money, he put in some money in a ranch of his own, and he made Ben Tipton the in charge. So Ben became the master of a ranch. And then time passed. With the passage of time, Tom grew up into a fine young man who loved his father very much. But Dick and Mr. Hobbs did not return to America for some time. The Earl decided to provide for Dick and give him a good, solid education, and so Dick was sent away to school. To provide means to look after the needs of someone. So the Earl of Dorincourt paid for Dick's education and all the things that he required. And Mr. Hobbs, after spending time with Cedric and touring the castle and learning the history of all things that made lords into earls, softened a little on his view about the British royalty. And Mr. Hobbs spent time with Cedric, looking around the castle, learning about the lords and earls, and after learning about them, his heart softened a little towards them. His opinion changed. He didn't dislike them as much as he did in the past. Privately, Mr. Hobbs found that he was not so disgusted with the earls as he used to be. Again, the same thing, he did not dislike them now as much as he did in the past. He ended up staying for a long time at the Dorincourt Arms, visiting his young friend often. Dorincourt Arms is that inn, a little inn, a small hotel, a roadside hotel. Then, to the great surprise of Cedric and everyone else who knew Mr. Hobbs, he decided to stay in England for good, meaning he decided to shift to England. He did not want to go back to America. He sold his shop in New York and opened another in Earlsborough. The place became quite popular since people from the castle shopped there all the time. So Mr. Hobbs sold his shop in New York, he opened another one in Earlsborough, England, and it became a very popular shop because people from the castle did their shopping from Mr. Hobbs' shop, and it became very, very popular. Finally, the day came when Cedric turned 8 years old. All the lords and ladies were invited to his party, and everyone from the village too. What a grand day it was, and how his young lordship enjoyed it. So now Cedric is Lord Fauntleroy, and he's being referred to as his young lordship, and he enjoyed his party. How beautiful the park looked, filled with people dressed in their colorful best. Flags were flying from the top of the castle. So many people were there, under the trees and in the tents and on the lawns. There were farmers and farmers' wives in their best clothes and children chasing one another about. So all the people from the village were invited to the party, and they were all wearing their best clothes and they were all having fun in the lawns. Lawn, as you know, is a big garden. And at the castle there were ladies and gentlemen who had come to see the fun. Lady Laureldale was there, thrilled at the turn of events. Turn of events means a sudden change in the circumstances. And what was the change? Cedric was Lord Fauntleroy. Cedric was thrilled too. His dearest was with him, and everyone seemed so happy to celebrate his birthday. The sun shone and the flags fluttered and the games were played and the dances danced. The people had a toast for his birthday, and Cedric stood and smiled. He bowed, flushing rosy red up to the roots of his bright hair. Now Cedric was thrilled, meaning he was very, very happy. His mother was with him. Everyone was happy to celebrate his birthday, and the flags fluttered because it was a castle, so the flags always fluttered on the mast. People were dancing, they were playing games. The people had a toast for his birthday, meaning they joined their glasses together and drank to his health. And Cedric stood there smiling at everyone, and he bowed because he was a courteous child, and he became all red in the face because he was shy and embarrassed and excited all at the same time. So we will stop here, and next week we will continue reading from here. But I have a question for you. The question is, what was the big surprise for Ben Tipton? You don't have to write it down. You just discuss it with your parents and your siblings. Until then, goodbye.